Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my video about Palantir Technologies. Palantir Technologies is an AI-driven software company. They have three different segments. Government segment, government for military and government for non-military, and of course the commercial segment. Palantir has been around for over 2 decades, working with all the major three-letter government agencies. A lot of you guys that have been coming back to my channel absolutely know this. A lot of people don't know this. So why am I talking about this? Palantir hit a milestone. Believe it or not, they did. They hit a milestone. They hit a record that they've never hit before. Palantir hit a record 1-year low. This is also a record of their entire life as a public company. They hit a 52-week low of around trading $6.33. Before that, it was like $6.44 or so. Earlier today, I did take an opportunity to add some shares of Palantir. I was very, very, very patient this time when I added to my position of Palantir. Thank you again, Arnie Investing. Sometimes your thesis does not play out. Sometimes the macro economy does not let your thesis play out, so on and so forth. But all you could do is put a line in the sand and hold steady, hold true to your investing thesis, right or wrong. Palantir is one of my largest conviction plays, probably my largest conviction play, and I'll explain to you why. But before I explain to you why, let me tell you a couple of other milestones that Palantir absolutely hit. Palantir now has just a smidge under 3,000 employees. If you go to LinkedIn, Palantir is hiring like crazy, while others, specifically Palo Alto, Silicon Valley, fintech, software companies, tech companies, they're all laying off. Google and Amazon and Meta and so on and so forth. Tesla, Twitter, all these companies, they're laying off. There's like a dozen of them. Palantir is not laying off. Palantir is literally pushing the pedal to the metal and going as hard as they possibly can with their initiative. So yeah, they hit a record low of share price. They also hit a record high of hiring. And I believe 2 months ago, they hit a record high of closed deals. And this last month was probably a second high of record deal closed. Let me explain. Around 2, maybe 3 months ago, Palantir announced signing over $800 million worth of deals. $800 million worth of deals. And this is a record in a month. Now, those $800 million worth of deals is between commercial, between government, military, non-military, and most of the contracts were between 3 to 5 years. Some were a little bit longer. Some were even 1-year contracts. I believe the U.S. Army contract was like $200 million, and that's like a 1-year contract, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head. And then this last month, they hit a massive, massive second all-time high for contracts, as far as I understand. They just inked a multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal with Integrity. Integrity is, they do molds. Integrity is in 3 different countries in North America, 5 different locations, and Integrity brings in over $200 million in revenue. Besides for that, over this last month, they made a deal with the CDC. Now, when they're making a deal with the CDC, they're already working with the CDC. They start small and then they expand. CDC deal over $400 million. $400 million. They made a deal with the Cleveland Clinic, multi-year, multi-million-dollar. They made a deal with Tampa Hospital, multi-year, multi-million-dollars. They made a deal with Crisis 24, multi-year, multi-million-dollars. They did an extension on the NIH $65 million contract. They added another contract for $8 million. Now, that contract is not 3 to 5 years. That contract is not even a year. That's a 10-month contract, $8 million. They also ended up making an extension with the U.S. Army for AIML, Artificial Intelligence Machine Learning. Again, multi-million-dollar contract, 1 year. Before I go any further, I want to ask you, please make sure to decimate, dismantle, discombobulate, and absolutely destroy, put in a chokehold, and burn That like button, I want to make sure that you hit the like button so freaking hard. I get 2 phone calls. Number one, I want to get a phone call from YouTube that YouTube is going to say, hey, Adam, your subscribers broke the like button and we're not feeling that. So please tell them to stop hitting the like button, and I won't. I will tell you to hit it twice as hard. And I'm probably going to get a call from Graham Stephan because he loves the like button and he hates it when you guys hit it hard. So make sure you hit that like button as hard as you possibly can to make sure that Graham Stephan feels it and YouTube feels it in their pocket. Palantir starts small and then Palantir extends. Why does Palantir extend? Why does Palantir hire more employees? By the way, integrity. Palantir now has 50 employees when it comes to Canada. I guarantee you, in a year from now, Palantir's 50 employees is going to be minimum 100 employees in Canada. They're trying to expand. So Palantir's largest market right now is the United States, followed by the UK. Then there's areas in Europe in general, and now they're expanding to Canada. And it's very interesting because in the UK, they first planned to have 250 employees. Then it was 500. Then it was 600. And last time I checked, it was close to 900 employees. So they keep exceeding expectations. They keep expanding on goals. Now, Palantir is in over 50 different industries, 50 different industries. When I first started my YouTube channel, Palantir was like in 20 different industries. Maybe they were in more, but those are like the advertised industries. And so, yeah, Palantir's price is record all-time lows, but Palantir is absolutely smashing records in terms of closing contracts, getting deals done, and doing interviews. Palantir was probably on like 6 different interviews that I can remember off the top of my head between multiple CNBCs, between the Reagan Summit, between Fox Business, and the actual Palantir YouTube channel with Dr. Alex Karp talking to different various partners. Now, this is super important again because it shows you, number one, Dr. Alex Karp and Palantir as a whole is actually listening to shareholders. Now, the shareholders were very mad that nobody understood what Palantir does because it is a very complicated, a very complex, and a very robust system that most people don't have idea what the heck we do. Even people in the Palantir community, guilty as well, right? Because you're always learning. It's hard to understand what they do. So they keep giving us more and more and more examples of what they do. So price of Palantir, record low. Hiring of Palantir, record highs. Palantir staff, record highs. Two months in a row, record high and near record high. Contract value, total value locked. Contracts signed. A record high exposure when it comes to Palantir in social media, traditional news outlets, and summits, forums, etc., so on and so forth. Right now, Palantir's price to sales multiple is around a 7, which is lower than its competitor, for example, Snowflake, which is, if I'm not mistaken, at a 14, 15, maybe a 20, something like that off the top of my head. And I just want to give you guys an article that came out yesterday. Very, very important article. So this article was written by the Washington Post. So there's a paywall behind it. So most of you guys are not going to see it. So this was a very, very one-sided article for Palantir. Mind you, I read a lot of articles in Russian. I do speak Russian. And there's a lot of interviews even that I saw in Russian tongue. So there's no loss of translation where interviewers asked like Russian generals or Russian military men of high rankings, maybe not generals, lower, but higher ranking. Why is Ukraine, taking village by village, but we're taking meter by meter, which means why are they making strides in the attack and we're, at a slug's pace? And many times in articles and in these interviews, they said, hey, not Palantir. They said Ukraine is working with an American company, and then they don't name Palantir. Sometimes they name Palantir. In the articles, they actually name Palantir. And they said that they have a third-party American company that basically gives them crazy intel, and they know where we are, when we are, before we attack, and when we're planning to attack. They also know when is the best optimal time to attack and when is the best optimal time to sit back, relax, and don't do nothing. Now, I don't want to take this war and put it into light. I'm just making conversation for this video and explaining to you from my own words what I listen to. So there's an article that comes out from the Washington Post. It comes out yesterday. There's a paywall, as I said. And the article is very one-sided for Palantir and how amazing Palantir is. In the article, they make sure to mention co-founder of Palantir is Peter Thiel, supporter of Trump. And in the article, they go on to talk about Meta Constellation. So a lot of people don't know products of Palantir. So Meta Constellation is a satellite system in space that takes information, commercial information, and they put it together in near real time. So there's no one-day delay. And they take a lot of different commercial information to make it actual usable information. So look, without Meta Constellation, yeah, you have satellites. And the satellite can give you, let's say, imagery of a photo. All right? The Meta Constellation now takes you imagery of a photo. It gives you infrared heat signatures. It can give you information that it correlates to on-ground surveillance. It can go past the cloud levels, right? If a satellite stops at clouds, maybe because there's welcome to New York, you hear that background, right? If normal satellites stop at clouds, Palantir does not stop at clouds. It goes further because it gives you a wide array of data points. It gives you a bunch of different information that you can use. New York sucks, guys. I'm telling you, New York is terrible. I could barely make a video without listening to an ambulance, without listening to a fire truck, without listening to NYPD drive by. Shout out to our hardworking security forces of New York City. New York City is a shithole lately. Anyways, so Palantir takes Meta Constellation and it takes all the different data points that you can get without Meta Constellation. But what Meta Constellation does is, and this is written in the article, it takes a bunch of different information and correlates them into usable data in real time. And the key is two: usable data and real time. Because it's not just enough to have information. You need to have the information now, right now, and you have to have information that correlates and piggybacks off of one another. It's not enough to have a still image that's going to come a day late. You need to have infrared and you need to have different domains. Different domains means land, air, sea, space. Those are different domains. And you need to be able to put all of this together. And because you could do this, and again, as per the Washington Post, this is the reason why David is winning against Goliath. Very one-sided article. And they interview a couple of soldiers. They interview a couple of people from Ukraine, and they're explaining how, the drones are working, and all this coordination is happening with Palantir. It's really, really amazing. I don't know if you guys can hear it, and I'm sorry that I'm breaking character. You can hear the sirens in the background. So I'm making a video, you hear the sirens. Now you hear the sirens again. It's super annoying, man. I'm telling you, New York is not what it used to be. New York needs Palantir. That's a fact. So Palantir's price is record lows. Palantir's capabilities is record highs. Palantir's accessibility is record highs. Palantir's workforce is record highs. Palantir contracts is record highs. Palantir's value, that's still to be seen. Can we correlate all of these contracts? Can we correlate all of these things to actual earnings, to actual profitability? And I believe yes. I'm going to end this video like this. I have a lot of conviction plays. I sold out of a lot of plays that I'm less convicted on during this bear market because I needed cash to buy in at a different time. A lot of projects that I have a lot of conviction for really let me down. Okay, I'll leave it like that. That projects that I believed were great let me down. And I'm disappointed in a lot of projects. With Palantir, I have zero disappointment. Zero. And although the price is record lows, I can honestly, truly say this. It sucks, but I am taking the opportunity to buy on the dip. Now, when's the last time you heard me say that I'm buying anything? Been a long time. For the last 3 or 4 months, I've been actually telling people, hey, I'm selling my positions in certain stocks, in certain cryptos, in real estate, so that I can have cash on the side so I can buy when the market's going to dip more. And I do believe that the market's going to dip more. I also believe that without a doubt, in my mind, Palantir is 100% undervalued. I believe that 100% Palantir is going to have its day. Palantir is going to have its time to shine in the sun. Palantir is going to be overvalued sometime in the future. 2023, you guys already know, I think it's going to be a really shitty year. However, some companies get hit a lot worse than other companies. Palantir does not have any good Wall Street recognition, but Palantir will have Wall Street recognition. When Palantir beats earnings, when Palantir can show that it's growing again as this massive behemoth, Palantir's price will freaking go on a rampage. It's going to go up, 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 baby, baby. Look, we, the Palantir community, and if you're new to my channel, I am part of the Palantir community, proudly part of the Palantir community, and you have so many others. You have Dartins, you have Arnie, you have Amit, Tom Nash, Palantir Vision, of course. I have a couple of other guys too. CodeStrap, of course. Chris Patel, who I have a bet against. And there's a couple of other guys. I apologize if I'm missing anybody. And the Twitter guys. Our Palantir community is massive. We find things before it's reported on. We knew Palantir is in Ukraine before anybody mentioned Palantir is in Ukraine. Now, shout out to Chris Patel. He actually literally saw one of the interviews about when it was by Ukraine, and the Ukrainian army, the Ukrainian military was using something that looked like Palantir. And that's how we knew Palantir is actually in Ukraine. And it turns out they are using it. And it was literally the Meta Constellation screen, if I'm not mistaken. Chris found that. Shout out to him. So, guys, at the end of the day, Palantir is a monster. I am taking advantage of this dip. I am being super patient. So I nibbled. And I bought a couple of percent worth of my total cash reserves. If Palantir is going to dip under 6, I'll buy again. I'm very, very patient. Thank you, Arnie, for teaching me this. Be patient with your investments. I think Palantir is super undervalued. I do think, and you guys are going to kill me right now, that Palantir is in the immediate future at least a $20 stock. I believe that in the medium future, Palantir is a 3-digit stock. This is my personal opinion. I think it's undeniable that Palantir does amazing things. Yes, we have crazy stock-based compensation, and no, we are technically not profitable because of all the stock-based compensation. However, things will change. Time will tell. The fact of the matter is, we're in many different industries, in many different fields. We are hiring when other people are firing. We have $2.4 billion worth of cash reserves. We have another $950 million of a credit line, and we have over $8 billion in contracts that we still need to collect money from. All in all, we probably have a total of around $4 billion when it comes to our war chest. We can survive. We can survive the entire 2023 without signing another contract. That's a fact. What shape we'll be in, I don't know. But we will survive 2023 no matter what. Now, I don't think it's even close to being dire like that, and I think it's quite the opposite. I think 2023 is going to show a lot of contracts that we were signing up that a lot of people don't know about. Now, to play devil's advocate, it's possible Palantir is signing up all these contracts, and they're making it noticeable. They're making it public, all the contracts, and then when the earnings come out, maybe we're not going to make so much earnings because most of the contracts that we know about are the contracts that's going into earnings, right? Beforehand, there's a lot of contracts that we don't know about and they actually hit earnings. Now it's possible that there's going to be a lot of contracts that we know about, and those are going to be essentially the entire portfolio of new contracts that we signed up. That's a possibility. I hope it's not. I think it's not. I think Palantir is going to grow. I think Palantir is going to grow in a very shitty time in 2023 because of their supply chain distributions to make you less inefficient, therefore more efficient, to let you save a lot of money, and to actually let you as a company be profitable when using Palantir in a very non-profitable time. I think Palantir is doing the opposite of what a lot of other companies are doing. Now, One of the huge negatives of Palantir is they bought into a lot of SPACs. SPACs is a special purpose acquisition company. So they bought a lot of SPACs. They invested in SPACs, and by investing in the SPACs have to use Palantir's software, Palantir Foundry. And by doing that, Palantir is trying to say, hey, Palantir is for everybody. Anybody that uses Palantir Foundry can be successful, can be better. This kind of backfired. The entire macro economy sucks. And all these SPACs are freaking hemorrhaging money. So on the balance sheet, it's very, very bad for Palantir. It's showing tens of millions of dollars of losses, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars of losses, off the top of my head. And that's very, very bad. So I don't know if they're going to write off all of these losses, and I don't know what they're going to do in the future, but all they need is one of these companies to succeed, and then they're going to come out to be, hey, they're geniuses. They invested in 20 companies. One company succeeded. They hit a home run, so on and so forth. Personally, I sold out of my Wejo. I sold out of my Lilium. I sold out of my Palantir SPACs. I think I might have a little bit of Lilium. I don't know. Because it's just not the time for those type of investments. And I've been talking about this for the last couple of months. But Palantir, I truly believe, is the time for this investment. I love Palantir. Shout out to Dr. Alex Karp. Shout out for being a little bit more calm. Shout out for doing all of these other interviews. Shout out to the entire Palantir community, both the YouTubers that I just mentioned and the Twitter personalities. Shout out to Rachie. Shout out to Lord Grimm. Shout out to Palantir Discord. Shout out to Ether Squared. Shout out to Chad Palantard. We have an amazing Twitter community. We have an amazing YouTube community. And truly, I do want to say community because we all work with each other. We don't hate on each other. Any beef, any static, it does not exist in the Palantir community for the most part. There might be a little bit, but for the most part, we are a very strong community. Look at the community of Tesla. Everyone's falling apart right now. People that praise Tesla are now hating on Tesla, so on and so forth. And it's happening in a lot of other projects and a lot of other companies, so on and so forth. But in the Palantir community, we are generally very strong, and most people understand, yeah, the price is down. However, this is a buying opportunity. And I'm not saying that lightly because it seems like there's dips, and it never ends. I'm not talking about Palantir, I'm talking about in general. And all these buying opportunities is actually you shooting yourself in the foot. I do think that it is a buying opportunity when it comes to Palantir. I also could say that Palantir could go under $6. It is quite possible. Palantir can lose another 5% of value. Will it hit $5 flat, under 5? I don't know. But at the same time, there is going to be a certain bottom. There is going to be a certain floor. And that certain floor and bottom is coming. Even the YouTubers that hate Palantir say, hey, Palantir fair market value is $5. So I think that if Palantir's price does go to the $5-ish, a lot of people are going to buy, even the haters. And watch what's going to happen. Mark my words. Palantir haters are going to buy at like 5s if it hits. And they can say, you see, it's not Palantir that we hated. It's the price point that we hated. And Palantir was overvalued. And I guess they would be right because the price of Palantir did go down. But we're going to increase the members of our army and we're going to get a lot of more support. It is what it is. Guys, thank you so much.